Alright, what's going on, people? I've been thinking about this a lot today. Shit's getting thick. Shit's really about to hit the fan. People ain't waking up fast enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every day I'm seeing more and more people actually acknowledging facts behind matters. But the New World Order is here. And it's unfolding before our eyes. This whole COVID-19, the whole pandemic. I give it less than a week. States will be nationally. Trump will issue the Stafford Act. And that's basically a medical martial law. And people better fucking wake up and realize that our Declaration of Independence, our constitutional rights, we won't have under martial law. And we won't have the freedom to protest, the freedom of speech. We won't have the rights to bear arms. We won't have the rights to stop soldiers from entering our homes. They literally will have free run on us. And that's the thing is, there's so many pieces to this puzzle playing out all around the world right now. Because what they're going to ultimately do, they're crashing economies around the world. All the biggest countries, they're on froze mode. Fuck, the president of the Philippines has told soldiers to fire upon anybody not staying within their house. Anyone that breaks quarantine is to be fired upon. And then you got the president in Hungary, the Hungarian president. He's the first dictator. As far as the way things are, it's under their medical martial law. There's no voting system. There's no longer, everything is frozen. That's what people ain't realizing either. If the Stafford Act is issued, a national state of emergency, there will be no voting in our states. Trump will be the president till further notice. And that's the thing is, this is how the New World Order, this is how the elitists that are behind the scene pulling fucking strings on these governments, this is how they're going to do it. They're going to have the presidents become somewhat dictators of their country. And those dictators will come to a round table. That will be the New World Order. And that's the thing is, their biggest agenda is getting these 5G transmitters up. Because people are, like I said, there's a lot of people waking up to the biological facts behind these 5G frequencies. I mean, they've known this science and studied and experimented it starting in the Navy in the 70s. But they were seeing the biological reactions of RF, microwave radio frequencies. They were seeing the radiation that was coming off of it. They acknowledged this. They knew this science. They knew that it would cause upset stomach. They knew it would cause headaches. At certain frequencies have certain... And that's what... It's hard to explain to someone that really don't have an understanding behind it, because every cell in our body literally vibrates at its own frequency. And that's the thing about this COVID-19. People are... The media, even our health system... The establishments aren't teaching true fucking biology. They aren't teaching the truth behind viruses. Viruses aren't contagious. It has to do with a certain pathogen once it mixes with our body and what we feed it is when it becomes alive. That's when it has those three elements, just like an atom has the proton, neutron, and electron. Living organisms have water, minerals, and energy, some way, shape, or form. And that's the thing, is these frequencies, these synthetic frequencies, because that's the thing. Our skin is a giant solar cell. We depend on absorbing form of a radiational frequency, an RF from the sun. That is what our body's designed to do. Our skin is designed to flush toxins out of us through the sweat ducts, through our pores, and it's designed to absorb electrons, vitamin D, into us, because we have to have electrons for every single minor billions and billions of actions and reactions going on in our body. Every little action and reaction needs electrons. We are an electrical vessel. Our neurological system, that is an electrical pulse. Hydrogen mixed with, plasma in the blood. Plasma is basically the hydrogen-rich environment. Slightly alkaline. I mean, it ain't like super alkaline. It's right on the cusp. For people that are familiar with the pH scale, it's 1 to 14. 1 to 6.9 is acidic, meaning it's lacking hydrogen molecules, because pH stands for potential hydrogens. Let's say that first. It's a measurement of potential hydrogen molecules in a substance. Normally you see a swimming pool or an aquarium or a hair product or a soap. It'll tell you the pH of it, or the water. We are anything from 1 to 6.9 is acidic. 7 is perfectly neutral. 7.1 to 14 is alkaline, is base. And that's the thing, is our blood in our cardiovascular system, we need right at 7.3 to 7.5. Somewhere in that range is exactly where we have to be for balanced homeostasis. For us to have that balancement of homeostasis. That's what it takes. But see, you also have to have the minerals to rebuild cells, and the vitamins to redo their objectives around the different organs. My point being, our skin absorbs frequencies. And I don't give a fuck how they use this term non-ionizing. Just because you can't see it to the naked eye, just because you ain't got a fucking microscope to measure the actual vibration of the atom. We don't have that fucking technology. We're not that advanced. And that's the thing, is the body absorbs these synthetic frequencies that aren't natural. We're synthesizing it. We're making it, we're creating it. It's man-made. It's not a natural frequency in nature. From humans, from animals, from plants. It's not naturally produced anywhere. And they're taking these synthetic frequencies, and our body is absorbing it. And there's an array. Like I said, it all depends on what frequency, at what bandwidth they're sending it, because that's the whole kicker and factor. Because there was a scientist in, I don't remember if it's the 50s or 60s, but his name was Wilhelm Reich, and he had something called an argon accumulator, and he was playing with frequencies, and he would put people inside of this like metal box that had organic material on the outside and inorganic on the inside. And he would feed these frequencies from these little vibrators into the box with the human. And these people had cancers. And he figured out the scales at what the body vibrates at in certain studies, in certain scenarios. He knew these things. That is when I believe it started. Whenever he started talking about his cures for cancer and it's cures for disorders. And because it was in the 70s that the Navy started experimenting with it. And now, to this date, the military openly has something called crowd control. It is a fucking antenna, satellite shield looking thing that sits on top of a truck. And it would send microwave frequencies at millimeter bandwidths at crowds, and the people in the crowds, like they showed this on the news. And they were having all these different people, they were like testing, showing it. And they were doing that as a reverse psychology. Like, look, see, your politician will do it. Your doctor will do it. The teacher will do it. It's not harmful, which is utter bullshit because they know the frequency. And that's the thing. All these different individuals that done this said how their skin felt like hot, like they were being burnt. And then others was like, my head started hurting. It felt like I had a headache. And that's my point being, the military knows this shit. I'm not saying all National Guardsmen, all different branches of military, but I'm saying there's a private sector that knows this fucking technology, because the newer transmitters, I seen one here in my hometown. And we have a National Guard base in our city. I seen one of them little trucks that was like the boxed in back. It only had the 2 door windows and the windshield. That's the only windows it had. And it was taller in the back, and it was all boxed off. Limo tint on the front windshield, limo tint on the side windows. And it had above the front windshield, it looked just like the transmitters that are on the towers, because that is crowd control. They literally would have to, all they would have to do is pull up on a group of people, press a button on their little computer, and it would fucking send frequencies that are biohazardous. And it will have reactions on their cellular structure. And they will either, depending on the frequency, they are either going to run the fuck off or they're going to drop in their fucking place. So it's like, and people aren't acknowledging this. Because, I mean, Trump passes laws to protect this 5G system right after being debriefed and told of 16,000 plus scientists and doctors and physicians and nurses and all these different people come to a table and drew up this letter and sent it out to the World Health Organization, the EU, Trump and his cabinet, and I'm sure there were some other ones they sent it to. But they were asking for studies. Since the CDC, FCC, all this other bullshit government organizations wouldn't acknowledge their independent studies, then they were asking them to provide them with the evidence, provide them with the studies, show them the results, that this is not biologically harmful in no way, shape, or form on living organisms, plants, animals, and humans. And that's the thing is, Trump not only ignores it, he passed laws to protect the transmitters, and then made the vow that they will have the system up and running in 180 days. Connect the fucking dots. It's going to be used just like it was used in China, just like it was used in Italy, just like it was used in France, because the people are waking up to this bullshit. They're seeing the fucking writings on the walls. They're asking their own questions and they're seeking their own answers. And there's individuals out there that's bought EMF meters and are sitting in their car and they drive past and they'll show you the antenna and this fucking thing starts going off the charts as much as high as it'll go. There's a fucking problem. Because I don't think anything over 60 gigahertz is when it really starts to affect the biology in a super rapid manner, because at 60 gigahertz, the frequency interacts with oxygen molecules, meaning the air around us we are breathing. It will deprive us from oxygen. It will stop us from being able to breathe. Hence why in China they were having people pass the fuck out. Or they get an itchy throat and dry cough. This COVID-19, this virus. And that's the thing is they have, you know, the satellites are already in the fucking orbit. Because that's where the initial transmission comes from, is the satellites. And then it beams down to these towers. And these towers send them out to individual boosters that are on like pole tops in the end of the neighborhood roads. They'll be spread out about every 100 yards because it'll come from the satellite to the towers, and the towers will send it out to those, and then they bing around the frequency between the small transmitters. And it makes a blanket, and it covers everything up. And these phones, the thing I'm talking in right fucking now, and the thing that's pulling Wi-Fi in the living room, that is what's receiving. That is what's calling for the signal. It's looking for that transmission. Therefore, when you're sitting around your house, these are a couple little precautionary measures you can take. I mean, it's our fucking best bet, because people ain't waking up marching against this fucking authorities, authoritarians, subliminals. Okay, get you a bird feeder. Because I can assure you, if you live in a rural area, in a neighborhood, that you will have a transmitter somewhere in your neighborhood if you don't have a tower somewhere. Because normally you'll see the towers around bigger businesses, around heavier populated areas. That's when you'll see the towers that are higher up off the ground, because that's where it's coming, the signal's coming from the satellite. But get you a bird feeder. Find this transmitter closest to your home. And put that bird feeder in between that transmitter and your house. Keep feeding it. Because the day you see dead birds under that bird feeder, is going to let you know that there is negative frequencies coming within your home. Just like the canary in the coal mines. Because they are going to be asphyxiated, just like the canary that's within a coal mine with carbon monoxide, lack of oxygen. It's going to be asphyxiated. They're going to be suffocated. The same thing that can be done to us. The same thing they've shown this shit, except for they're calling it something else. Because this pandemic is what's going to usher in they're going to crash the economies and usher in the New World Order, the New World Currency. But realize, if you're sitting in your house and your throat starts to get itchy, like, like really fucking like something's irritating it, or you start a coughing fit, or you get a migraine out of nowhere, or you feel lightheaded like you're going to pass out, shut your fucking phone off. Unplug your fucking router, because those are going to be the objects that is calling for a signal. That is what's going to be calling for this fucking biohazardous frequency to come into your house. Because don't get me wrong, it's what I've been trying to explain to people. We can't do nothing about the satellites unless you're some top-notch hacker, computer programmer type background. You're not going to be able to get to the satellites, because I'm going to tell you, all satellites on this new system is ran by the same handful of individuals, and they're not going to be shown. This is where I believe it is a private sector of the military-industrial complex. They're the ones typing in the coordinates. They're the ones setting the frequencies. We have to get rid of the base transmitters. We have to get rid of them, or they're going to have... It's like having a loaded, cocked gun pointed at your fucking head. Why would you even give someone that power? Do you really have the trust in them to have that over you? Because for these transmitters to go up to 100 gigahertz there's absolutely nothing positive about that application. To a living organism, there's absolutely no beneficial use for it, except for to destroy. This is where the pieces, man. I'm not saying they're going to just start killing people right away. I don't think it's going to be nothing like that. They want control. They want to drag this out. But don't get it twisted. Bill Gates has already hinted around it. Because he loosely said something down the lines of we needed to reduce the global population. But this is the dude that's supposed to be creating these vaccines that's going to save everybody. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. People better start waking up. Because if not, it's going to be our children that's going to have to fucking live under the gun. Quite literally. So many things I want to say. We got to start waking the fuck up, y'all. We got to start really, organizing. And that's the thing is, they're tightening this noose around us. Because they issue this Stafford Act, which I'm feeling it. I feel it right around the fucking corner. It is right around the corner. And once they issue that is them putting their last checker. I can't even fucking talk. Their last chess pieces on the board. They're cornering us. They got all these different things that are trapping us in the corner. The pesticides, the herbicides, the chemtrails, the vaccines, the pharmaceuticals, chemotherapy, radiation, fluoride in our water, additives, preservatives, refining and malnutritioning our foods. And that's the thing is the human body is so fucking capable of compensating for certain things. But we're being hit from so many fucking angles it ain't funny. And people just can't fucking see it. We have to fucking do something. We have to start fucking spreading awareness. We have to start fucking acting. If not, we're doomed. Our fate is literally in our hands and it's slipping between our fingers. I hope I keep seeing this perpetual motion of people waking up to the facts. But at the same time, I'm still seeing so many cognitive dissonant, Stockholm Syndrome suffering, ignorant as bliss individuals that still believe in Trump and defend synthetic chemicals and biggest fucking term, conspiracy theorist. It is what it is. Truth is truth. I hope people start to wake up to these facts. I pray every day for it. Know that Knowledge is key. Your health is your foundation. Your belief is your success. And your wisdom is your true power. Know your full potentials. See through these fucking masquerading mirrors of illusion. See through this rigged, engineered social structure. The government ain't gonna do this shit for us. We gotta fucking see this shit for ourselves. They ain't gonna indoctrinate us to the truth. They're indoctrinating us to control tactics, the fear tactics, the conformality. Wake the fuck up, y'all. I love y'all. One love.